have you really thought about how you're going to propose to me?
You kept, I'm like, girl,
I was
if
like,
only you knew. I actually, on my notes app, had like endgame.
Did you?
Yeah.
Because if you weren't like naturally romantic, I'd be like, ooh,
that's
what's
a
this?
lot.
Then I see
Is
that you're
it for his
proposing
side
to
chick?
me.
Is it for me?
Yeah.
It wouldn't just be me getting to know you, but you would be the one who would get to know me.
I remember that.
Which is a big difference. Elodie Christina Jones, will you marry me?
And
She said no at first. She punched me in the face. And then...
Hey homegirls, welcome back to the Less of Me podcast, and I am here with my beautiful fiancé. Slay, period. He's back.
Yeah.
He is back for the first time since we have been engaged.
As a fiancé.
Yeah, we are very excited. I know you guys have been looking forward to this. To be honest, I've been looking forward to this because I feel like talking about the engagement on my own just doesn't really hit the same.
You don't really get to get the full picture, do you? So
no,
nice,
and I mean, you were the one that planned it.
Exactly, so it's all the details there.
It's only coming from the girl right now. So we are going to be grilling Naz. You guys have asked a lot of questions.
I'm on the hot seat.
Yeah, so we are going to go through the questions that you guys have asked us about the engagement and just about our relationship, the future, give people a bit of a picture to what's going on in our lives.
Interesting.
You ready?
I am.
Cool. Okay, so the first one is, how did Naz propose and what was the story behind the engagement? So we're starting, basically just give me the full tea on how it happened.
Oh, where are we starting from? I guess we're starting from like...
Start wherever you feel.
Okay, well, I guess maybe about autumn time, beginning of autumn time, I obviously had in mind, okay, cool. This is definitely like the time frame in which I'm going to propose now, which is about 3 to 4 months time from then. And so start to get myself ready in a position mentally, spiritually, financially as well. Obviously, I always knew that I was wanted to marry you and I was going to propose to you. But in terms of like actually putting like, this is the game plan. For no, I actually on my notes app had like endgame.
Did you?
Yeah. For like a proposal. So yeah. If anybody's like a Him Yim fan, you probably know like the playbook with Barney, but...
What is that?
How I Met Your Mother. Anyways.
Oh, How I Met Your Mother?
Yeah, like
okay.
Barney had like a playbook for like... what was it called? I can't remember, but either way, it's like a playbook for like the last sort of game he was going to play, which is going to be to like get Robin. But anyway.
Never watched it.
Doesn't matter.
Should we watch it together?
Maybe.
Okay.
We can do. Sidetrack.
Let me shut up.
And so yeah, getting on to doing that. Started trying to look around about rings a bit more. Started trying to piece together, like to reassure you that I was going to obviously working towards proposing to you, whilst also throwing you off the cards. So
yeah, because
started to put in a couple.
I started getting like upset a couple times.
You did, and you're like,
and I was like, I can't. I feel like it was like a month before. I was like, nah, it's like, is this actually going to happen? Or like, I was like, have you really thought about how you're going to propose to me?
You kept thinking
I don't know why I was upset.
You kept thinking like, oh, like, have you actually got things sorted? Like, do you know like the ring? Do you know like how I want to be proposed to?
Yeah.
I'm like, girl,
I was
if only you knew. If only you knew the things I was planning, like my mind was already running.
Oh, I know.
I had to keep composed.
I feel so bad looking back.
I had to keep composed because I was like, look, just, again, almost act a bit nonchalant in a way so that she doesn't like sense that you're actually planning this right now, but also reassure her that you are working towards this. So, because obviously that's the case. I don't want her to be upset that like I'm not doing that, but I didn't want her to feel like as though I'm literally T-1 week about to put. I think there's one time you even asked a week beforehand. I think.
Did I?
I think so. Like during that week, and I was like, oh, like.
Literally, shut up.
Like in 1 week's time, but no. So yeah, just working through that, trying to make sure that I'm reassuring you whilst in the background, not giving anything away because I want it to be a surprise. Obviously, it wasn't going to be a surprise because we've been speaking about this for like 3 years, for 3.5 years by the time I proposed. But yeah, so it wasn't going to come as a surprise on the day, but I wanted the day itself to be a surprise. So initially, I knew like I wanted to do it abroad, like just for like taking a day trip or whether it be like a 2-day trip. But it was so difficult.
That was also like my wish that it was abroad?
Yeah, it was your wish for it to be.
What did you think?
mean-
like before I'd ever said it,
I mean,
did you have a plan?
I had a plan.
Rough
I thought
idea.
maybe maybe it might be like in a summer, in maybe like somewhere which doesn't really look like the typical UK, where it'd be like Cornwall or something like that. But because
been cute.
obviously the time of when we were going to be
Getting engaged
engaged,
in
I was like,
February.
the UK just isn't gonna work. So
Yeah.
obviously we spoke about a day trip, just on a random thing anyway, outside of the proposal, because you didn't know I was gonna propose to you anyway.
Yeah.
So we speaking about that. Initially we wanted to do Sevilla, and we wanted to do a day trip before the beginning of the year. So I kind of wanted to do 2, so it kind of feels like we're just regularly doing day trips.
Yeah.
And it's not
yeah.
like something which we were trying to just do anyway.
Yeah.
But it kind of worked out because it allowed me to be able to save more of not going off that day trip.
Yeah, because we
But
were planning
also,
one in December
we were-
and it never happened.
It never happened.
Yeah.
But also, it made it seem like as though it's just the day trip which was meant to happen in December happening then. So rather than like a particular thing, kind of
Yeah.
which would kind of throw you off. Maybe what's he planning?
Yeah.
Just a random day trip by my birthday. What's going on? So yeah, there was that. So looking at different locations, and honestly, it just wasn't working out. We're looking at different locations. It's like either it's too far, too expensive, time for flights just doesn't really work out. I was like, oh, this is just jarring.
Yeah.
And then maybe about, I think it was like November time, end of November, I was like, Malaga. What's wrong with Malaga? You know, I love Malaga. I went with my boys, Leke, Dami, Flair, and shout out to you guys. Yeah. In November 2023.
Yeah.
And then I was like, well, it's a beautiful place. I love it. And you've never been. You've always said,
No.
oh, it looks so good. I want to go. I was like, why not go?
Yeah.
So started to look more into that. Look a bit into photographers and things like that. But initially,
Which we love, by the way.
Which we love. Oh gosh.
Because the pictures are so good, but also the fact that you even thought about it.
Yeah.
The photographer. Like, I think that's really sweet.
Yeah, I had to capture the moment, didn't I?
Yeah.
Like, I think especially because it was just going to be the two of us. I wanted your
Yeah.
family, my family, still be able to have like,
Yeah.
and our friends, our loved ones, to be able to have something which they can.
Yeah, because I didn't want it with
the memory
family. Not like no shade to my family, no shade to my friends, but I don't like big things like centered around me.
Yeah.
So I said from Naz quite early on, please don't propose in front of anyone. Like at first he thought maybe like, does she mean like completely private?
Yeah.
Like I still don't mind it in public, but I don't want people that know me
to be there. And
because
even still, didn't want it like to be like in the middle of like in front of the Eiffel Tower where like there's 1,000 people
getting proposed to
already. At the
oh my
same
gosh,
time.
it was someone from work was telling me how he was somewhere, but it wasn't like somewhere typical. It was just somewhere on holiday. But him and his
they were,
girlfriend
like,
saw 5 people in one evening get engaged.
in like the same kind of spot.
The same spot.
It's like, yeah, so like, I wasn't trying to do that.
Yeah.
So luckily, shout out to Mikhail Carbo Photography. He helped me to pick out a great location. And yeah, it was just beautiful. He was just so helpful. If you guys ever planning to do a proposal abroad somewhere, make sure you get somebody who actually knows the area.
Yeah, that was so
it
good.
made it so much.
Yeah.
It just literally like took away loads of stress that I would have had in terms of trying to think about where should I go, timing,
What
restaurants.
pictures.
Yeah.
Did he suggest a restaurant?
He did, yeah, he did.
Oh,
So it was
nice.
like, that was super helpful as well. And again, he had his partner also, Denny. He was really super helpful on hand, just
sweet.
for helping us on the day and also like with the flowers and other little elements that we needed. So yeah, that really helped to alleviate stress. And then, yeah, when it came to ring shopping, I had to like, well, I don't know. I did have to like semi like lie about where I was because like we basically
We love lying for proposal purposes.
We share each other's locations, which is really nice. And so because we share locations, I mean, if she decides to at one point look at my,
I am not a stalker, guys, right?
she's not a stalker. She just
I just
she
love
just,
you.
She just loves me. She wants to know that I'm safe.
Yeah.
You know. So
yeah.
no.
It's more just like if Naz is going from point A to point B, or like I can't keep track of Naz's schedule. We've talked about this. We need to sort out like a
shared
joint
calendar.
Calendar
100%.
because he's always busy with client meetings.
Running.
I never know where you are. So like I'll look on your thing and I'm like, oh, he's home.
Oh, okay. Oh.
Or oh, he's like driving somewhere.
Yeah.
And like I can never keep track. And then you're like, babe, I did tell you, but I'm like, I just forget.
My mind is.
So yeah,
like,
I could have just looked
So
on that
exactly,
day.
it could have just been a
and
case
saw.
of like she's looking across and it's like, he's in Hatton Garden. What's he doing there?
Not that I even know what that is. So you're lucky.
But
I mean, if
still,
I zoomed in and saw the shop, then I would have
saw a
googled
ring
it.
shop. It's like, what's he doing over there? So like, yeah, I had to just say like, I'm just in a meeting nearby work, and then drop my actual phone down, take my work phone with me, did a bit of a scout was like, ooh, okay, I actually like that ring. Basically, for note, guys, make sure that you speak with your lady about what kind of styles.
Please.
It doesn't mean that you can't go and still have some inspiration, because she didn't, again, the ring which she has on her finger isn't like the exact
I didn't
pinpoint
show
ring. She
him
didn't
that
show me
exact
this,
ring.
but I had a good idea. And so when I saw it, and obviously just knowing her, you know, her character, knowing her personality, I was like, yeah, this is really screaming her.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, did that. Came back, put deposit down for it, and then I guess after that point, it was then speaking with your parents.
Yeah, tell the story of that.
Parents,
Because
okay,
that is
so
such a sweet story.
by the time obviously I'd come to the point of obviously having got the ring, this was basically Christmas time.
Mm-hmm.
So arranged, obviously we were going to be down anyway for Christmas, and then what was I trying to do? Yes, I start speaking to her mum already at this point, maybe even before getting the ring. And no,
Oh, really?
No, actually, no, I didn't. That's a lie. It was afterwards.
Okay.
I'm mixing my stories. Time frames is literally nuts.
Yeah.
My mind was, but no. What was I doing? I said, obviously, no, when I was down, I said that, I want to speak to your mum and dad. I was planning to do it at a time when you were going to be away out the house, because I think there was one gap where you were planning to be, but it didn't happen that way. And so then I had to basically do it in the morning when you were asleep on like the second day that I was there. So I literally had to, I had to sneak over.
He had to park far away from my house.
Maybe like a 5-minute walk off.
Right.
And then come over to their house.
Through the neighbour's garden.
Mum and dad
what time?
At like 6:30. Like
In the morning.
Mum and dad still in pajamas. And it's like, okay, yeah, we're going to speak. Maybe sneaking. I'm assuming they probably already knew what I was going to do.
Yeah.
But yeah. So yeah, I went through that. Basically said, you know, I love your daughter. She is an amazing woman. She's enriched my life. And we've had the privilege of being able to grow alongside each other. And you guys have been so supportive of us. I thank you for like welcoming me in as a son. It's been really appreciative to be able to know that, you know, I have, you know, another part extension to my family. And, you know, I feel like this is the right time. I don't really want to hold it off much longer. So I would love to have her hand in marriage. And yeah, Mum was in tears.
Obviously.
Yeah, saying like, yeah, I'm so happy this day has come. You know, my son.
Aww.
And then you know, your dad, dad Pops. I call him Pops. He was like, no, I'm good. You know, I'm happy about this, pleased about this. And
what was the first thing you said?
He said, no. He said, I think it's a good time. And said, yeah.
I thought he said, well, I think that's brilliant, or something like that.
Yeah, so he said, that's what he said.
Well,
yeah.
I think that's brilliant.
I think that's brilliant.
It's like, even like,
and he's like, I think that
when we went away for the weekend the other day.
Got to have a jolly good time.
Have a jolly good time. He comes out. He is the most typical like white boomer. Like he's just so like so British in every way. He's so funny.
We love Pops.
Love you, Chris.
Yeah, but no. He's like, yeah, I believe you'll make a good husband. I was like,
Oh no, it was even when I talked to my mum when we got engaged and I FaceTimed her.
Yeah.
Because I was like this, like to my mum, like on FaceTime, like haha, like I got the ring, and she's like, what is that? What is it? And she was like pretending.
It was like she already knew.
Yeah.
Like,
and then she goes, you know how your dad is like a man of few words. I was like, yeah. She was like, I asked him afterwards, like, are you happy about Naz and Elodie getting engaged? And he goes, you know what, Pat? If I could draw a picture of what Elodie's husband would be, it would be Naz.
Oh. With my 2 plaits and all that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I thought that was so sweet. Like, I'm so happy that they're happy.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
So it made it a lot easier in that regard. Then afterwards, once I knew, obviously, I had that. Obviously, in back context, I'd like kind of been speaking with my sort of boys and mentors about this leading up, just for like advice and prayer. And then was then speaking, you know, making sure my mum knows, my family, well, my immediate family know. So my siblings and my mum. And then from that point, it was just kind of working towards, the day really. Ironing out all the different details, picking up the ring. Again, I had to lie about my location. It's like,
so you went twice?
I went twice. I went first to obviously have the scout around and make sure. Okay,
so you saw the ring you liked the first time?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And then went to go and pick it up.
Out of interest, what were the other rings that you saw?
All the other rings.
Like when you said that she bought some in.
She bought some in, but like
so
some
what,
of them,
they
had too much. They were too busy.
Right.
Unlike, so like, had lots of like rhinestones here, or like maybe it was like they were too big in terms of like the band and stuff like that?
Yeah, because I'm quite basic. Like you guys, if you watch my videos or see me on socials or whatever,
Jewelry,
I wear
clothing, things that
very
you wear, it's just
basic
minimal.
gold jewelry, usually paired with everything from Primark.
Yeah.
So, like I literally bought a top from Tesco today. Like I'm not really like very out there with my style.
Yeah.
Like I quite like basic. So I said to
Not
Naz,
basic. I would say.
what was it you
minimal.
said? Minimal. That was
Minimal.
it. Bless him. So I wanted a ring that even if I had no makeup on, in just like usually I wear like a jumper and leggings.
Just wearing something, standard.
Yeah, I want something that still looks good. And like obviously I even said on my previous podcast, like if you're someone who loves a big jewelry, then your man needs to know to get you a bigger,
There's no
more
point-
glam ring.
there's
Like
no
it
point
has to
of
be
him
something
getting
that
you the
suits
ring which is
you.
on your finger.
Yeah, like this is probably very simple for some people. Some people they might want even more simple, but you have to know your girl.
Yeah, some people
I'm
might
glad
want
that you know
a thinner
that.
band,
Yeah.
and they might want like a smaller diamond.
And some people even like not diamonds, like ruby rings,
exactly,
like
or the
whatever.
shape, exactly, all these different things. There's so many different things. So like, do your research for one, because there's a lot of options.
And let her have a Pinterest board and share
Yeah,
it with you,
share
because
it
that
with
was
you.
something that I did over the years. So you
Yeah.
kind of knew
Yeah.
what I liked.
At first I was like, oh, why are you sending things to me? Like, let me just choose. But then I was like, wait a minute, you actually want to get it right.
Because I got to wear it every day.
You got to wear it every day, and it's
like
also
it.
not cheap. So it's like, why would you
Just buy something.
buy something?
And that's the other thing. It's like the difference between gold and silver, or even any other material.
Yeah, it's just
like
there's
just
so many
you got to
different
know
things.
what your girl likes.
So
yeah.
take her fingers and inspiration, and then there's still so much research to do after that anyway. So like, don't feel like, so I don't have any sort of say or job in doing. It's like there's going to be so much you're going to have to look at, ask about. So yeah.
So on to the day,
The actual day.
or like what you planned leading up to the day.
Okay, so plan leading up today. So I planned out a bit of an itinerary in terms of what we do. Make sure I book the restaurant, sorting out the hotel.
So we got engaged the day we went to Malaga. So we were in
The day we
Malaga
went to
for
Malaga.
one night in separate hotel rooms. Thank you very much. Let me just say that to all y'all who want to be haters.
Yeah.
We stayed in different rooms. Thank you very
Different
much.
rooms, Yeah.
I am not pregnant, and that's not why we're getting married.
Oh,
I'm joking.
gosh. Yeah. What do
Yeah.
you even call it when people? It's wedlock, isn't it?
It's what?
Married out of wedlock, right?
Married out.
It's wedlock. Like
Married out of wedlock? How does
like
that make
when
sense?
you're like, if you're pregnant.
Pregnant out of wedlock.
I
Married? Because you're not married.
No, like if you're gonna get married, but it's because like.
I don't know. Because you're pregnant.
Because you're pregnant.
Oh.
Either way, like no shade to anybody anyway.
No,
but, like,
we
we're
love
saying-
everyone, and there's no shade to anyone. But I just in my mind was like, someone's gonna be thinking that we were sharing rooms.
But anyway, yeah. So sort that out, and then what's I doing? Itinerary. Make sure obviously the photographer had everything down pat in terms of like flowers, the little petals that would go on the floor.
Yeah.
The location was set. Like he checked the weather updates, things like that. Just know like, okay, well we have to change location potentially. But God was
That's so
good.
good.
It was
I didn't know that was
he
that
was.
detailed.
He was so good. Yeah, he's
Aw.
honestly so good. So if you're ever doing a proposal in Malaga, literally
We'll tag him below. Yeah.
But yeah, make sure you get in contact with him. And yeah, so then after that point, I kind of get into the day. Oh, outfits. This lady, she stressed my life and her mum because because obviously I had basically thrown her off to be like, we're not getting, engaged. Like, we're getting engaged soon, but it's not going to be like soon. So she was like, oh, okay, cool. So with this trip, she's like, I'm just going to wear jeans and a blouse. I'm like, I know if you wear jeans and a blouse and I propose to you, even though you'll be happy, you'll be like, why did I do that? You'll be upset at yourself, not at me.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm not going to let that.
But correct me if I'm wrong, right?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like when we first talked about outfits for Malaga, you said to me, trousers.
No, I said like calm and casual. I don't think I said trousers.
But what I wore was not calm and casual.
It wasn't, but I was also trying not to like throw you off too much. I was trying to like work it in bit by bit. But calm and casual, and it's like, okay, you know what? Actually,
So you can understand why
Yeah,
I
I
said
get you.
nice jeans and
Yeah.
a nice top
be like
with
something
heels.
nice, yeah. But then
I
I was
wasn't
like,
gonna wear trainers.
no. But then I was
No.
like, okay, cool. We're actually going to a nicer restaurant. It's your birthday, so I was trying to work it in bit by bit. Mm-hmm. And thankfully, she
Fair
was
enough.
actually able to find a nice dress, which was
Yeah.
absolutely amazing. You've seen the pictures.
Yes, I actually Googled proposal dress. Funnily enough, I didn't think I was getting proposed to, but I was like, if there is a slight chance, and I even said to my mum when I was shopping for it, I was like, I wonder how many proposal dresses I'm gonna have to buy because this is stressful. Trying to find a proposal dress.
In throwing her off, I was basically like, yeah, just get prepared each week time we go away.
Yeah, he was like, be prepared every weekend.
Yeah,
but obviously every weekend we weren't going like somewhere fancy.
No, so
but I at least made sure my nails
there were another
were
maybe like 2 occasions which she thought it could have been.
There was one time where we were walking to the coach station from London, but like to the coach station, and then like you went another road down that I didn't think you were gonna go, like walking there, and like I don't know why my heart dropped. I was like, is he proposing to me? But I was like, I look really like not great right now.
Oh.
But I was like,
you look great always.
Thanks. But I was like, oh, maybe, I don't know. I was like ultra aware, but then I was so not ultra aware on the trip, which I'm actually really grateful for. And what I told you about the other day about you leaving your notes on the bookshelf.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Like I had all my notes again, the end game, up on my phone, and I think
it was the notes of the speech.
The speech, yeah. So I was literally just so tired.
So the night before, this guy.
Oh, let's not even basically like let's just do.
This is so all over the place, but
look, we're just gonna do cliff notes because if not, this video will end up being like
a
whole docu-series.
Yeah.
So no, long story short, I had forgot my passport back at home, and my family couldn't even find it. Thankfully, they did because the help of the Holy Spirit dropped it on my heart that it was in my athletics spike bag. And
for why?
I don't even know.
I don't know.
I think because I was trying to bring my spikes with me
because you wanted to do
some training.
Right.
Did I even end up doing training? I don't think I did.
You didn't.
But anyway.
You went for a run.
I went for a run, but I didn't do athletics training. Yeah. But anyway, sorry about that. Need you.
What? Sorry.
But no, yeah. By the way, I found that and I had to like 3 journeys back and forth to Bristol.
Yeah, so he'd already come and then he went to a client meeting. I was working in the morning. And then I opened the door and he was like, you're going to be mad at me right now. And then I was like, what? And he was like, I forgot my passport. I thought he was joking.
But yeah, like Ivory, in her mind, she's like, oh, we can't go on the trip. In my mind, I was like,
we have to go.
Proposal, it's like crazy.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that was sorted. We found it. That was all good.
Yeah.
So we'll leave it there.
So the night of, what were you going to say?
Oh no, the night of.
Before we went to the airport in the morning, Mum had Naz's car, so she drove us. And in the morning, because Naz usually stays with my godmother, because it was like we had to leave the house at 3 a.m. It literally made no sense. We had youth
on the sofa.
Yeah, we had youth,
sort of
like a panel
talk.
night,
like
a relationship panel night, which is so funny because it was single dating, married.
Yeah.
Obviously we were the dating category, like one day, like the last day of being dating.
How timely.
And that finished at 10. We left at 10 or 10:30.
We were like chatting 10, afterwards. Yeah, we were chatting. So let's say we left at 10. We got back at 10:30.
So it made no sense for Naz to go back to my godmother's house.
Because we basically have to leave the house about 3 a.m.
Yeah. So he was downstairs. I was going to get something from the kitchen. I think I was getting IKEA Ziploc bags for like my toiletries, and I saw that your phone was on the bookshelf. Yeah. And I went and I saw like some sort of romantic thing.
Yeah.
But like, you're very romantic anyway, like, which you're like, I'm glad about. Like, you better be glad for, because if you weren't like naturally romantic, I'd be like, ooh, what's this? Then I see that you're proposing to me.
Is it for me?
Yeah. God forbid.
God forbid.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, bless him. He's probably just like going to say something nice at dinner.
Nice, yeah.
So because obviously it was my birthday, like straight afterwards. So I was like, maybe we're going somewhere nice. He did say like, I'm wearing a nice dress. So, like, we might just do something cute. That was actually a proposal speech that I didn't read.
So thankfully she didn't read it. But yeah, for note, guys, just be a bit more sort of, don't be too suspicious where like she thinks what's going on, but try to be a bit more, I guess, careful than I was. Just in case.
I feel like there's always room for mistakes.
Yeah, there is. I mean,
so you just got to pray for God's grace.
I think, no, it honestly is God's grace, because many different opportunities where like I was like, did I slip up here? But I think God just made you a bit, not dumb.
Yes,
but he made
I would agree. He made you dumb.
A bit dumb.
Bit loopy.
A bit loopy.
Bit loop-de-loop.
So in that time.
My mum also had to change Naz's name on her phone to Auntie Dion. Shout out to Auntie Dion. Because I was like, one time, like, Auntie Dion messaged and was like, "Thank you for trusting me with her." I'm thinking, with what though? Like,
but shoot, either way.
yeah.
Regardless. So yeah, we come to the day. We get to the airport. We arrive. Obviously head over to the hotel, and then we're just kind of doing our sort of itinerary. We get breakfast, go to some of the museums.
Naz took me to the spot that we ended up getting our wedding pictures done.
Yeah, I did. So we went up to the
engagement
Castillo,
pictures.
the Gibafero. You know,
This guy does
Spanish
Spanish lessons,
so
he's flexing a little bit.
I'm just flexing my muscles over here, but no.
Shout out to your Spanish teacher.
Shout out to Jorge. Okay, if you guys ever on that Preply app and you want some Spanish lessons, hit him up.
You're doing really well. Even when we went to Portugal, because it's quite similar. They
like,
started giving us Portuguese
crossovers.
menus because of him.
They thought I was Portuguese. Even when I went to Portugal, my family did
To be honest, though, even when I went to Lisbon, they thought I was Portuguese because of my hair, I think.
Until you opened your mouth and you're like, oh no, just like
yeah. This white gal, what's she doing there?
No. she's my honey bunny.
Honey bunny.
Yeah, honey bunny.
Anyways.
But anyway.
So then we got changed.
We got changed.
Went
out
drinks.
to drinks. I said we were going to drinks. And she's like, I said, we're going to be late. She's like, nah, just call them. I'm like, call who?
Yeah, we're in the taxi and he was like, yeah, they don't have a phone number. I was like, what bar doesn't have a phone number? Because we were stuck in traffic.
And she's like, oh no, just call them. I'm like, oh, well, why am I going to call them? Because it's like there's no reservation. She might hear the phone call and whatnot. I'm like, cool. I just had to say that they don't have a phone number. And thankfully, they actually didn't have a phone number. I don't know why, but oh well.
That was really good.
Yeah, so it worked out. I obviously messaging Mikhail at that point, say like, okay, we're on the way. He's like, okay, just hold it for 5 minutes. And that worked out because we were late anyway. And then I was trying to find, we got out of the taxi. I was so panicked that I left her in the taxi. I was meant to grab her hand to come out because we were in this Mercedes Sprinter exec. And obviously has to step down and she's wearing heels. She's like, Naz, what are you doing? And then the taxi driver's laughing at me.
What was it that I said?
What did you say again?
I said, Naz, you can't do this on our wedding day.
You
and that was literally seconds before we got engaged.
Oh.
So sorry.
Like, it's like a SpongeBob meme. Oh no, Mr. Krabs. So he's like,
yeah.
I'm just panicking. So I was make sure I had everything on me because I already had the stress of like leaving my passport. I want to make sure do I actually have the ring on me. So I did, thankfully. And then I was trying to find a spot. Then Mikhail, the photographer, and Denny, his partner, doing the videography, gave us a bit of a small wave. You didn't notice that.
No.
And then I walked over and she's like, where are we going to? I'm like, oh, we're just, trying to see something.
Well, because basically what it was is it was like, what would you call it? Like a marina
you've
type
seen
thing.
the pictures, I guess, like insert here. And then
Totality.
Yeah.
So on one side was where we got engaged, where the water
and then you've
was.
got the marina on the
other side is where all of the restaurants are lined up.
You've got Puerto de
Naz
Malaga
was
and
looking
all the other
towards the water when I'm like, the restaurants are here. I'm like, why are you looking there? And then he was like, oh, just come over here for a second.
And
then I saw
you look
all
down,
the petals.
you see petals and you're like, what's going on?
I knew exactly.
You knew what's actually. And I turned around and you're like, what? And I'm like, yeah, this is it.
What did you say to me? Did you just smile to me? I
just
can't remember.
smiled.
I was shaking much.
My brain, like, I constantly go back and do the speech and whatnot, but like my brain was fried. Like,
you did the speech really well.
I did it well, but like if I can tell you like what I said word for word on that day, I can't. I can just go back and say like different parts of the speech. But more or less, I was like, I knew from day one that it wouldn't just be me getting to know you, but you would be the one who would get to know me.
I remember that.
Which is a big difference, because you can get to know lots of people, but when you allow somebody to like actually get to know your heart, that means you've gained a different level of vulnerability.
What's that saying where it's like, to be loved is to be known.
To be known, exactly. So
you can love without being known, and you can know without loving. But if you love and with full knowledge, that's true love.
That's true love. Exactly.
In any sense, not even just romantic.
It doesn't have to be romantic, no. Just
but
in every sense.
With your main partner for life, that is very important.
To know, I was like, I thank you for letting me, see that beautiful smile and those almond eyes glisten.
Yeah, you did
say
that.
Every single day, look like. And I was like, yeah.
And then, what about the 101 questions?
Oh, basically, we were doing 101 questions. What's his name? The author. We'll probably tag it in again.
Yeah.
Here, but before you get engaged, we've been doing that. I don't know. I mean, it's 101 questions.
We started it in 2022.
End of 2022.
So we did it for like over 2 years.
Over 2 years. Which, if you asked it like literally like every week, one a week, that probably still takes you up to our time frame about. But obviously, we sometimes
did like a good few.
And
then we also had our break.
Which we'll get onto. But
in the next video.
So stay tuned. But yeah, so I kind of, what's the word? Like slyly asked her like the last 7 or so questions in the week and the day of the actual proposal without her knowing. And then, yeah, obviously I came to her and I was like, question 102. Elodie Christina Jones, will you marry me?
And
she said no at first. She punched me in the face. And then, yeah, I guess I woke up and she's like, you know what? I came to my senses.
While she was asleep.
It's beautiful chocolate man.
So he actually asked me the 101st, well, the last, like, what, 9 questions or however many questions on the day, but he was dropping them in. Because obviously if he got to 101, I'm thinking, wedding bells? And I can't hear them. So he actually asked them not in like the structured way where we usually sit down.
No, it was like
and
kind
ask
of
the
more
questions.
tailored within discussion and flowing conversation.
Which
so
was
that
sweet.
you wouldn't.
I don't even remember it.
No, neither do I, in all honesty. Like my brain is just
Once
like,
now stood
don't slip up.
Once he stood up, he goes, I'm so glad that's over.
I literally just felt like my brain had just become more like, yeah, like I was happy that I did it, but gosh.
That was bliss though. Like obviously the photo shoot was beautiful and I felt like it was very romantic taking the pictures. And then once we had dinner, it was just like, oh, it was the best day of my life. It was really nice. Yeah. It was the best day of my life. We had a really nice, like, second day there, going around, doing a couple more sites. I think the next question after that was, were you scared?
Was I scared? Funnily enough, I wasn't. On the day I was more scared about, like, I didn't want to mess up or, like, make anything slip out for myself.
So you weren't actually scared about doing it?
Oh, no. Like, I feel like I was like...
What a confident boy.
No, I mean, obviously, don't get me wrong. I'd been like many different points during our relationship, like scared, oh my gosh, can I do this? Can I do this? Can I do this? But I feel like God gave me, from like leaning into him and then obviously the wisdom of like brothers around me who have like kind of walked this journey before, Leke, who is, getting married this year. And then obviously Shimon, Tayo, many other people, who I've spoken to about this, able to give me some advice. Obviously they're married, or like he's about to get married, so I was able to like kind of just be encouraged in regards to what I need to do, how I need to prep myself. And then I kind of felt like it was the right time,
it's good
for us moving forward, so I wasn't fearful in that regard.
That kind of leads on to the next question, to be honest,
which is,
when's the right time to propose?
When is the right time to propose? I think the right time to propose, ladies, I'm sorry about this, but look, it's when the guy's ready. I mean, obviously, like, again, if you're then not ready and the guy wants to then propose, that's a bit of a different.
Yeah,
that's a whole nother. But
and then also, if your man isn't preparing to get engaged and he's not being proactive, you have every right to not stick around.
Yeah, you don't like if it's just an end of cycle of like there's no sort of actual clarity as to like what's actually happening here. You clearly want to get married and it's just been ages and there's no like sensibles working towards anything. Then of course, don't just be held hostage there. The right time is when the guy is ready. That's what I can say. And when you guys feel like you're in a place where you're submitted to God and just wanting to go forward. It's not about perfection, not at all. We've learned that for ourselves, no doubt about that. But I feel like you will know, and I think ladies, like, let your guy know. Like, you let me know that you either way. English, it's not my strong suit.
It's Spanish.
Hablo español. But
it's actually a second language. It's his third. He was born speaking Yoruba, and then he learned Spanish. So he only learned English like when we met. I taught him how to speak English. So any mistakes is my fault. Okay, this question's for me. What was important for you to see in Naz before being ready for marriage, and what was important for Naz to see in you before getting ready to propose? I mean, I was like more ready for marriage than you. Like, I think this was the perfect time for me to get married, but I think mentally I probably would have been ready maybe like April last year.
Mm.
I think like mentally, but not with us, no. But mentally, I think like my life, yes. But again, as Naz said, like that's not a healthy relationship for me if I force him into marriage.
Yeah.
So I think that's exactly me. Like I knew Naz was ready because I knew that it was off his own back and not off of me like being like, Naz, like we should get married, and you're like, I don't know about that, girl.
I don't know about that.
And it's not that Naz never wanted to marry me. It's just like his own readiness. And we'll talk about that in the next video anyway. And then what about you?
Me.
Seeing you.
I think, for one, you had a lot more trust for me. I don't think that... Yeah, and I think you were just, very... I mean, just seeing like how you supported me, how you just made my life so rich, and just wanted to, always see the best of me, champion me. And I guess the way in which we relate, made it so easy for me to just want to be able to actually step more into that leadership role. Obviously, something which I'm still growing in, but it was becoming a lot easier because we had both matured in the way which was, I guess, you were, easily able to just trust and submit to God, and then trust me that I was submitting to God and able to like care for you in that way. And I mean, there was no doubt. I think it was more a case of, for me, more than like seeing stuff in you, so to say, because that was from early on. But yeah, you were just also very sort of stable and maturing so beautifully in your own right. And so I was like, I can't keep holding out on such a, when you found someone good, gentlemen, when you find someone good,
when you find a wife,
you found a good thing. So
period.
Yeah, don't take time on it when you do.
When you guys first met, when you were younger, did you expect this as in marriage? Could you tell from the very beginning that you'd end up marrying, or was it more of a gradual realization? And then obviously, how did you two know you were right for each other? Quick short answer, we knew. There was doubts throughout the journey, but I think we always
the overarching sense
knew.
was knowing that was going to be...
God had given us so much clarification, and it was more just like trials that we went through that was like, God, like, did we actually hear you? But we did.
Yeah, that's why it's important to obviously go back to like not looking at situations and circumstances
and emotions.
Of course, don't get me wrong, they should definitely be highlighted.
Yes, and also this is not a license to say let your man treat you however or your girls treat you however, and then you just like get married because you feel like it's right. This is very much rooted in spiritual maturity and prayer,
get people around
together,
you.
Not just you. If your man's not praying with you or your girl's not praying with you, then I don't have much to say for advice.
No, but I think also it's important to get like community around you. Well. People, even if you're not saying necessarily like comfortable with like just it being just your family, because you might want to speak about certain things, which is like, oh, I love mum and dad, but
not going to speak to mum and dad about that.
The ins and outs of like every single thing we do in a relationship, which is healthy again. Yeah. It's good to have people outside, like mentors that are able to like...
And people you similar age, maybe a bit older, but similar age.
To kind of speak into your life, That was helpful, really helpful for us, especially when we sort of worked that into our relationship at about the 1.5 year mark. Definitely do it from a lot sooner, guys. Yeah. But...
Also, we just didn't have solid church family.
I guess before that
until
point,
then.
Yeah, that's also very harder. True. That's also
we were new Christians.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, we knew pretty much straight away. This one, I'm interested to know what you think. If you don't have an answer, that's okay. Because I don't think I do, but I wrote it just in case you had anything. What are the spiritual and emotional boundaries that you guys had in place as boyfriend and girlfriend and now as fiancés?
Don't have. You mean?
You guys had in place.
We
spiritual
had in place, but
boundaries.
But now we're fiancés. We don't have that.
Yeah, I guess like how
anymore.
you're growing because we're fiancés. I'm trying to think.
I don't really know. Maybe they're more or less quite similar. I say obviously because we're going along the way towards marriage,
we have more open conversations.
Maybe there's a couple more open conversation, but it's still needing to know with the mindset like, yeah, we're fiancés and there's a ring on her finger, but it's not. We're not married. Still,
I think maybe like working towards engagement, we were very strong on being a team together.
Mm.
But I would say maybe like very much practically presenting ourselves as a team.
Yeah.
Like maybe not just internally, like privately,
Yeah.
but I think maybe like when it comes like friends and family,
Yeah.
we very much like prioritize one another
Yeah.
within those
Yeah,
situations.
I think that's what I can say, because early
If you
days
get me.
you're still getting to know somebody, even if you like feel like, yeah, this is the person who's going to be the one. It's still very early days. You still need to get to know each other. So I feel like doing that early would probably be a bit too much.
Mm-hmm.
But I think obviously, yeah, something which we've obviously do so now.
Yeah, and I think maybe
also.
like because we knew we were going towards engagement, I think it wasn't. We probably started intentionally walking towards those things anyway. It wasn't like it was like a shock to me. It was a shock, but I knew you were going to propose.
Yeah, so
if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's kind of what I have for that.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys have any advice for spiritual and emotional boundaries,
Yeah.
I would love to hear. But I also kind of think in marriage, there's probably like, because we're not intimate,
Yeah.
there's probably like a whole depth that we don't even know about. So we might have those boundaries just because we have the physical, and also we're not living together.
Yeah, exactly.
So many
So-
different things that we're not exposed to each other anyway, and
so
we
it's a
wouldn't
bit-
be.
Yeah. It's
So
like,
maybe like things will just change and
Yeah.
grow
I think
as marriage
more in
comes.
terms, I guess, depth. Like, I feel like it's something which you will have to. I was like the black and whites of like, again, if you're somebody who wants to, you know, set in place boundaries and follow God and not put yourself in danger of, you know, slipping up, then yeah, of course, it's like the black and white boundaries. But in terms of a lot of other things, I think it's going to be person to person and relationship to relationship. So I wouldn't say that we can necessarily give you an answer on that, especially because we don't want to say something and then like now taken as Bible when it's not Bible.
Yeah,
So
absolutely not.
we will leave that for, I guess, one-on-one consultation.
Period. Okay, the next question is, what should you never compromise on a relationship? You give one, I give one.
What should you never compromise on? Being somebody who actually loves Jesus.
I would say, particularly for women, don't compromise on leading in your relationship, and don't try to lead in your relationship. Like, I've struggled with leading, like wanting to take the lead, and then Naz has had to work on becoming a leader. But the difference is, like, when you have a man who might not come naturally, which I feel like is normal, like you said in your leadership Bible that my parents got you.
Yeah,
Leadership isn't born, it's taught.
it's taught, and
But
it's something which
you
is
have to
grown.
be willing to want to lead.
Yeah,
So I think like that's something that I would tell women never to compromise on, is a man that has no willingness to do that.
I think just to go in a bit off that, like, it's not saying you need to be subservient as a woman. It's not saying that you need to be like, you know, shut up, don't speak, because we're here now. I'm on her channel. She's leading the conversation. I'm just keying in.
Yeah.
But doesn't take away from the fact that like God has an order, and yeah,
And that order, I think, coming from a very like strong-minded person, that order has actually helped me not feel so overwhelmed, and it's not like restricted me. Obviously, we've not gone into marriage yet, but there's been a lot of things that I have battled with that God has given me peace, because Nads leads with God at the forefront.
yeah,
And if I am humble enough to let God lead my life, I'm humble enough to work with someone that God calls to be a leader over me.
Exactly.
Like, it's like my dad, for instance. Like, my dad was called to be he is still my leader until we get married.
yeah.
Or like a boss, a
Yeah,
good boss you can
That's
submit
actually
to.
a good thing, because look, many people, bosses in organizations, who their employees are more skilled than them, but they are still the boss for certain reasons. And it doesn't mean that, oh, they're still the boss, so that means that we're not saying like that. But like, again, like, it's not to say that women then don't have kind of, a lot of people give the sort of points, well, I'm better at him than this, I'm better at him than that. And it's like, that is beautiful. And if you have a good leader, he will, you know, again, as any good boss would, he'd be like, he would champion you in that. And he'd be like, look, babe, you know this better than me. So, you know, let you take the lead on, like, let you sort of take the lead in that sense. But in terms of as an overarching sense, he is still to be the leader.
And I think also a good man helps you cultivate your
skills and your gifts.
skills and your strengths. Like today, did some of your website.
Exactly.
So I'm helping Naz with his interior website.
Mm-hmm.
So I do a lot of the design. Well, I do all the designs and the copy, basically building his website. And I'm basically doing it with little to no input from Naz.
Mm.
He kind of knows that I know what he
I
wants.
trust you. Yeah, I gave some input, some guidance, but I've not like I trust you. I know you know what to do. And it's kind of what you can see it as, like a good leadership isn't a case of like necessarily having the good skill sets and knowing what to do, but it's being able to delegate, being able to sort of structure and manage. But doesn't mean that. Again, it's like a manager in football anyway. Like you have a manager in football, they are not Cristiano Ronaldo, they're not Messi,
No.
but they are still the manager.
And they also, a big part of management is support and tending to
the team, you know, tending to their emotions, checking in on them, giving some structure to everything,
and also giving them freedom
to do what they need to do, pull every single person together.
I don't believe that one role is greater than the other, but I believe as a woman, God has called us to greater than leading our home. We still lead in different areas. You can still be a natural leader in your home and have a leader.
You can still be a leader in your workplace.
I believe that
you can't lead.
I believe that having a husband, having a man in your life who has grown in the leadership qualities, that actually he helps you reach your God-given potential rather than be held back by something that you should never do. Because really and truly, a woman who fully leads in their house whilst having, if you want to have children, if you have children and other different things that you're doing, I believe
you're
that
you're going to actually be restricted.
You're restricted and you're overwhelmed.
You will be. But like, I think, don't get me wrong, there's so much brokenness in the world, and we have to, as Christians, not allow the broken relationships that we see dictate us away from what the truth of God's word. And again,
that's so true. If it says it in His
word,
I could try and convince you till I'm blue in the face. But
it's, you know, it's not just coming from us. And again, wrong. There's so many counter situations where like you look outside and it's like, you know what? I get it. I get why people wouldn't want men to lead because we've done a lot of bad. But when you are in the right relationship, I don't think I've seen it countless times between women who are similar to you, you know, very strong-willed, independent, but then they're like, oh, wow, like she's not become subservient. She's doing what she's doing. She's thriving. She's killing it, man. I'm so proud of you.
Thanks.
But you've become so soft and just able to.
True. I'm in like my feminine era.
Yeah.
Like actually resting in my femininity, not trying to be over masculine. But like you'll see me and Naz, like, well, right now you probably can see it. But if you like know us, Naz is very soft and I'm not.
She's like, "Arr, do the roar."
Do the roar. But like that doesn't mean now that I'm a leader in our relationship, and you can very much see that Naz's way of leading, he's a very soft leader and I'm a very strong submitter. So like I'm still myself while submitting to you. I'm not like this soft girl that never speaks. Like how I am on my podcast is how I am in real life. Like I talk and I yap and I have strong opinions.
You yap and I'll be calmly be like, okay, but.
And sometimes he has to put me in line, don't get me wrong, like rightfully so. Like sometimes like him and my mum are just like, Elodie, just go that way a little bit. And I'm like, okay. You know? And then sometimes I'm like to you, like, Naz, you're gonna have to like be brave and confident. I was like, yeah. It's like we're a partnership. We're supporting one another, but let's put another in our roles in which God has given us. I think you love one another more when you're both walking in your roles, because you're going to be frustrated at me if I'm taking over your role, and then I'm going to be frustrated at you, even if it's not conscious. But it's a subconscious frustration of why can't you be what I'm doing? Because I'm only doing it because you are lacking and I don't trust you enough. Okay, so this one about us living together, and it was like, if you guys are long distance and didn't have frequent periods of prolonged in-person interaction, do you expect any challenges to come up when moving in together permanently? Are there challenges that might be different for a couple that wasn't long distance? And obviously someone said, now that you'll be moving in together, how will you adapt now as moving to a new city away from where you were raised?
Well, for one, we aren't moving in together until we are married.
Well, I think that's what they meant.
That's what they meant anyway. Okay, cool. But
he's like, let me just make that clear.
Just make it clear. But no, So moving to a new city, I've been coming back and forth, to visit you for the past 4 years now. So I've gotten adapted and used to it. And yeah, I guess for me, it's like, it's a new and exciting journey. It's not the first time I've moved from home in a sense. I went to boarding school
and then uni
for 7 years, and I went to uni, and I've traveled around a lot for work and things like that. So it's not like it's completely unknown to me. And also, like, the UK is so small. So there's nowhere which you can go to which is really too far unless you're going to like Glasgow or something like that.
Yeah.
But even so, you can probably get like a cheaper flight than you could a train ticket to most places in the UK. So that works out. Yeah, I mean, it's just nice to be around you, and I've become familiar with, where we're going to be living. So that's quite nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, safer to raise kids and quieter as well. So
yeah. And then how about us? Well, me being an only child.
Oh,
did I mention that question?
No, so
I didn't.
No.
Okay. The question was, what influence do you think? Oh, so the first bit was about long distance challenges. I don't think we'll know until we get married.
I don't think we all know.
Because it's even if you aren't long distance but you haven't lived together, it's always different. Like my parents found the exact same thing, even though they live like 2 streets down from each other.
Yeah, because regardless, you still haven't lived together before marriage. So,
and then the other one,
it's a journey there.
Yeah, the other one was about what influence do you think you being an only child growing up with no siblings, unlike Naz, will have on your marriage? This is more a me question.
It's more of a you question.
Assume. So I definitely have only child syndrome, and like I'll be very honest about that. Hi, I'm Elodie. Go hi, Elodie.
Hi, Elodie.
Alcohol Anonymous. I have only child syndrome.
Let's talk us through it.
Yeah. So luckily I have cousins, so I think that has helped it not be like run rampant in my life. But I don't share anything. I don't have to share anything. I don't share my room. I don't share my bathroom.
No.
I don't share any of my clothes. I don't have anyone trying to take my clothes.
No.
Like you share a room with your brother. And you have like clothes in the same wardrobe.
No, different wardrobes. Okay. But again, so like we share.
And you wear Harif's clothes. I'll be like, oh, I didn't see this yet. And he was like, yeah, that's Harif.
Like he's wearing mine, like kind of thing. So it's like
never had that.
Yeah, so you never had that.
Never had like a younger brother like storm into my room and like mess up my makeup or something.
Yeah, or just be like you're doing something. It's like, oh hi.
Yeah, So I've not had noise. Like, I'm on FaceTime to Naz. Don't get me wrong, like my mum's chatty, but I don't like. You'll get like your siblings just coming in and chatting to you. Like I'll hear like Sarah like singing in the background or something. I don't have that.
You don't have that.
So
no.
that'll be interesting. I don't know what challenges we'll face until we get there. I guess we'll keep you guys updated when we are married.
Yeah.
But I don't actually know. Like I think probably there's gonna be a few things.
Yeah, I think it's just a case of like you don't necessarily know, but it's good to have the awareness that like these things might play a part.
And then if there's an argument, at least the person who's like, not an argument, but like if you call me up on it, it's not like a shock to me. Like I might not, I'll like pray that I will, but I can't promise I'll handle it well.
Exactly.
But I'll have the self-awareness.
Exactly.
So I'll be like, you know what, now you're probably
fair
right.
enough.
Last question is baby number 1 soon?
Soon after we're married, yeah, maybe. I don't know. We'll have to see.
Little baby Ramu.
What Jesus is saying about that one.
We were looking at baby clothes today.
Oh yeah.
Not on purpose.
Not on purpose.
We just went in
Tesco.
And Naz was like nearly crying and looking at them. He's like, oh, little baby clothes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, like we love kids. We want to have kids, and we don't want it to be too long after. Could we? I don't want to be taking kids to primary school at 50.
No.
But.
Each their own, but
each their own, but yeah, not for me, man. I want to be living life.
Yeah, yeah.
But no.
Yeah. So no kids right now, but kids are on the cards. We do want children.
Cards,
yeah. Naz wanted 4. I said 2, so maybe 3.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
I'm hoping that we have a boy and a girl, so Naz forgets about it.
I'm hoping that we can, just have the third come in as a surprise.
Anyways, guys, we love you, and Naz will be back again next week where we talk about boundaries. Not boundaries. That was our last video, our first ever video about the break.
Yeah,
it's been a long day.
We're going to talk about the break
and why, how, how we got out of it,
Yeah.
the whole shebang.
Oh, shebang.
But yeah, I love you guys so much. Thanks, Naz, for coming on
No
the
worries.
podcast. We love you.
Buen dia.
Goodbye.
Bye.
That was translation.
Yeah.
Okay, see you guys.
Bye.
Bye.